One of the most important things that I want to touch on before we actually get into the specific lectures of how to actually drop ship, how to create your designs, how to do product research, etc., is one of the techniques that I'm going to recommend you in this course is to model successful t-shirts, right? You can go out and create your own if you're a creative, right? Like that makes sense. That's totally fine as well. But one of the easiest ways and the quickest paths to get from where you are to successful and start making sales is to model what's already working. That said, and this is a big that said, do not exactly copy somebody else's design, right? There's many reasons for that. First and foremost, it's not ethical. Secondly, you don't want to get like an intellectual property or a copyright strike. And third, you want to avoid using anybody else's brand logo, brand names, because you could run into issues with that. As long as you're not copying designs exactly and you're simply modeling a design and maybe making a change or an upgrade to it, and you're not using a brand logo or a brand name in your design, you're going to be fine. But keep those things in mind. So, for example, I've gotten intellectual property claims in the past for using Target's logo, Starbucks' logo, Star Wars' logo, and Disney's logo. Now, I've learned all those things the hard way, so you don't have to, but keep in mind you want to avoid using brand logos and brand names. That doesn't just go for big brand names as well, although you should mainly focus on avoiding those. It also goes for specific third-party brand names on sites like Etsy or Amazon, if those are sites that you're using to model your designs. And that is a technique that I will teach you later on in this course when you're doing product research to find hot products to model, okay? So for example, in this design right here, if you were going after modeling this t-shirt, you wouldn't want to copy this exactly. You'd want to model something very, very similar, but put your own spin on it and try to improve it, okay? Just the same, this one doesn't have like in the title, because one of the techniques that I'm going to recommend to you when you're actually creating your listing is also just like modeling the design. You also want to model the SEO in the title, the SEO in the description, and get all their main keywords so that you can obviously rank for those similar keywords on your design. But one thing to keep in mind is you have to pay attention to not copying brand names in the design, not copying the design exactly, but also not copying brand names in the description or in the title as well. So also keep that in mind. Don't copy brand names in those either. Doesn't matter if you're doing one on Etsy or if you're doing one on Amazon like this, for example. What a lot of people will do in the beginning when I say model it off of it is they'll simply copy the title and they'll copy the description and they won't read it, number one, to make sure that there's no brands in here or any information that shouldn't be in here. And on top of that, they also will just copy it word for word, which is definitely a no-go. You can use these keywords and model after them, but do not copy word for word. Another reason you don't want to do that is because, for example, this shirt might be 100% cotton, but your shirt might be a different blend, or your shirt might have a different setup or neck hole or whatever the case is, right? So that's another reason you don't want to copy word for word, all right? So I wanted to hit that home. I wanted to really make sure that you understand that before we get into anything. Two things here. Do not copy designs, descriptions, or titles exactly. Instead, model and improve off of them. It's one thing to model a design and improve it. It's another thing entirely to just simply copy it, so don't do that, okay? The second thing is don't use brand logos and don't use brand names in your designs, and you'll be fine. The general rule is if you have a question or you're not sure about it, if it's a brand or it's a logo that you shouldn't be creating, then avoid it. It's better safe than sorry.